Okay, it's pretty early right now. Never thought I'd be making a video of me getting inside my daily driver. My good old dang old Subaru CL. My good old dusty Subaru that I live in, and everything that I, do comes with me. 525 EJ25. Oh yeah, listen to that baby purr. Okay, so after making a community post, some of you guys actually want to see what I do for a living. It's no skin off my bones. It's really not all that bad anyways to film, although it is early and I'm still super tired because I essentially wake up and just leave. Like I've only been awake for like 20 minutes is how that works. So I drive for the next 35 minutes, and when we get there I will show you guys everything that goes on in my day, how my boat works and everything like that. Alright, we're rolling up on my area. This is a sand plant, so I've met a lot of people that aren't aware of how things are made, and surprisingly there's a bunch of you that know exactly what I posted a picture of, which is great. There's a lot of you that don't know what it is or what my job type is. So that's what this video is going to explain, and how I'm able to afford what I afford. Alright, so I'm going to go step by step here, show you guys exactly what this is. Essentially, this boat is a giant water pump, okay? This is like a giant turbo, except it forces water. There's lots of vacuum and lots of pressure, and this gets up to about 70 pounds of pressure whenever I am pumping water. I will show you exactly how everything works and stuff like that as we go. But essentially the water feeds through here, goes through this pipe, goes over here to the booster pump, which is an even bigger water pump, and then travels all the way across over to the plant. Giant tall thing, the brown box, the water goes up into that brown box, and then that gray thing in the middle is a screen box, and it shakes. So when it shakes, there's different size screens, and the material falls down between the screens, and it gets separated onto different conveyors. And you can see the main part of this job is to collect sand, and you can see all the sand that gets fed off by this giant conveyor that's touching the top of that sand. This other white conveyor is where all the rock and stuff goes. As we go with this, I will show you guys and tell you guys, explain to you everything, but I've got to get everything set up here. This is my clutch, and this is all activated by this giant lever, so it's disengaged and then it's engaged. It's a giant clutch. It's like a triple quad disc or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's like quad, and it drives this giant belt that drives a giant pulley. This is a bearing, there's another bearing, and then it drives the pump. And I'll show you guys how that all works here in just a moment. One of the biggest things here is the fresh water pump, and this water pump here supplies the water to the back of the water pump, because the only thing that is sealing there is some rope style substance that's waxy that keeps the water in, and you don't want sand and everything coming out the back of the pump. So this pump here pushes water into the back of that to equalize pressure, and then the water lubricates the rope, and the rope keeps all the sand and everything in. So the only thing that comes out of there is clean water. You gotta feed the water. Feed the water. Water comes through this pipe here, comes out there. And essentially this design right here is a vacuum pump, and it sucks all the air out of this big pump. This is completely supposed to be full of water for it to prime. So this right here pulls all the air out of there, so that way it's completely full of water. And that down there, you can see the water is all foamy and white. That means there's air. I'll show you what it looks like whenever there's no more air. And here, we've got my monitor, and my monitor is what shows me what all my numbers and everything are doing, like my vacuum numbers and my pressure numbers and how fast the material is moving through the pipe. There we go. You can see the water got clean. A little bit of bubbles still in there, but the bubbles are being pulled out from other places in the pipe. You can see that the water is mostly clean now and not turbulent. Right. Oh, I gotta wait for them to holler at me so I can kick the pump in and everything. But here we got a Sonar, which is pretty cool. This is pretty much new to the whole boat. I was able to get it last year. And unlike most sonars that people who are aware of, this one here is actually a live sonar. This thing is like constantly pinging and literally is always, it's like basically watching a movie underwater, except it shows in different colors. So this here is actually the sand. Like, this is the floor and then this is the sand in front of me. So like essentially what this is doing is shooting signals straight out in front of you, but it's like you're standing to the side and looking at the boat. So think of you're seeing the boat like this, like at the side. It's taking a side it's taking forward pictures, but displaying it as a side profile. So right here down in front, you guys can see the pipe that's going down there. This line right here that's coming down, that is the pipe. Right here, you guys can see, those are the cables. The other thing, that's this right here, that is the cutter head. And I guess I should just go ahead and show you guys that right now before we start. So you can see as I pull this up, that whole section there moves. So you guys can kind of tell that it's from a side profile. You guys can see, it's a giant spinning wheel that's full of teeth, all right? You guys can understand, probably expect or gather what they do. They sit on the floor. They sit on the floor and they cut through the sand and the rock and everything. And that cutter head actually is like a giant cage. There's a bunch of holes in it, and they're pretty big. They're like 5-inch holes for the rock and everything to get sucked through. And I mean, we're talking like rocks that are like giant, like 5-inch rocks. I mean, some big guys that get sucked in with the water. So all that stuff gets sucked up, goes through the big pump right there, goes through the pipe, ends up at the plant and separated into piles. So as for the material and stuff that comes out of here, concrete sand is the most important, and that's what like companies like Skyline, Ready Mix, and Ideal, they use in their concrete. When any concrete place that lays the concrete out of the mixing trucks, that is where it comes from, is sand. It's concrete sand, and it's made by spec. I'm not completely certain of how everything is completely working up there. There's other guys up there that are like certified and everything to do the testing, but the concrete sand is the most important. Then there's fill sand, and that fill sand is what places use to pour underneath roads and stuff like that. It's fill. And then also what people use for extracurricular activities, they lay under their swimming pools, also used in sandboxes. We got pea gravel and oversized rock, and then septic rock, which is like, this rock is like exactly what you think it is. The pea gravel is what you see in like playgrounds, and septic rock is the real pretty 1.5 inches. It's like giant, like the nice smooth pretty rocks. That's where all this rock comes from. So right over the levee here, if I can get it, there we go, right over that there's a road, and then right over that road is the river. Most of the time sand plants run along the river because through the millions of years that the rivers have existed, sediment and everything is built up and gets pushed on the edges of the river. So there's lots of sand and stuff to be harvested, you know, it's being dredged up. That's because that's what this is. This is a dredge. And you know, most of you guys, or some of you guys already knew what this was, but for those of you that haven't, welcome to a learning experience. It's actually pretty great. you know, basically the boat sort of runs itself. I mean, these levers are here, which I guess I should explain that. The boat doesn't move normally, okay? The boat is mounted by 3 points. There's a cable back there, and it's mounted all the way on land. That cable there is mounted over there. That cable there is mounted over there. And essentially, I let off one cable and then tighten the other cable, and that's how the boat moves. But the boat doesn't move in a straight line. The boat moves like this, and that's because of the point in the back. As we play with the boat today, I will show you guys exactly how everything works. But essentially, you let out of that cable, I release that cable there a little bit at a time off the winch, and it lets me move forward. But you can't do that until you're done with your full swing. So you swing and you move forward, swing, move forward, swing, and that's how you continuously get material to suck up through the pipe. Explain my numbers here for a second. So velocity, it's how fast the stuff is flying it through that pipe right there. Not up there, but right there. The pressure is exactly what it is. Everything after the pump, it's how much pressure is in the pipe. And vacuum is everything that's in the water and right in front of the pump. So everything from here that way is vacuum. Now we're gonna give her some beans. Watch my vacuum the second I start to reach some material. It's not only the numbers that changes, but the entire way the boat is sitting too. Alright, we're getting up. We're not all the way down yet, we're just touching the surface. Oh, there we go. You guys will be able to see. More than likely, hopefully. As we go down, the boat will start to bounce a lot. You got the hydraulic for the cutter head here, and you guys can see that's for PSI. So 1,000 PSI. We are on the floor. My goal to get this number right here to go up and this number to go down, and then try to keep it at a certain place. All right, so we've been going for a while. You can see down under the water it's bubbling up, and that's from the sand being pulled away and everything separating underwater, and it's being sucked all the way into, like, cutter head is basically straight down from the cables, so it's pulling that far away. I mean, that's really far away, way over there. And essentially the way to move, let out a cable, you can see, tighten the other cable, and we're moving. Get it nice and tight. Don't let it go too high on the pressure, because it might be surprising, those cables are really thick steel. I mean, they're half-inch cables, but they do break. Yeah, we got a storm rolling in. This doesn't look all that bad in the camera, but we have some type of thunderstorm rolling in. Sometimes it gets pretty crazy out here. The freaking water starts bouncing and waving, and the boat starts moving around. This thing is unsinkable, I swear. Looking pretty crispy over there, let me tell you. Kind of sketchy, you know. Way out in the wilderness. end of the day now. I'm just sending up some clean water to the plant. So that way the plant gets completely cleaned out. But we're almost to the end of the day. Kick out. Be kicking my pump out here in just a moment and then be on my way home, I guess. Like I am every day. This is what I do every single day. Monday through Friday. I enjoy it. You know, it's different. You know, not everybody does a job like this. Essentially, I'm in the mining industry, so. All right. Let's take a walk around the boat. Inspect some stuff, make sure things aren't getting out of hand. All right, so basically that's it. That is literally my whole day. All I do, I sit on a big old boat, and I mean, there is some hard labor sometimes. When things break, you got to do stuff. We're not pumping all year round, so when it's freezing, you can only do so much with water, since, you know, water freezes. Especially moving water whenever it's, you know, isolated in the sky and stuff, because when it's coming off the conveyors, it is freezing on the conveyors, so things break really, really easy and really fast. But I hope you guys have learned something from this video. You know, you guys wanted to see what I do. You know, let me know what you guys do in the comments down below. But that's gonna be it for this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.